Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing with you 5 tips that will help you ace your first product design challenge. Now, roughly a year ago I was looking for my first time UI UX design job, and I really didn't know how to solve a product design challenge, which is how the idea for this video was born. Now, if you are new to this channel, my name is Ahmet and I'm a full-time UI UX designer in Canada, and in this channel I share with you the tips, strategies and systems on how to become a better UI UX designer. Why companies use product design challenges? What's the purpose? What is the end goal of the hiring manager when they are giving you a product design challenge, basically saying just design me a new ATM machine with bunch of constraints? Now, if you were to understand this, you can reverse engineer the whole process and basically have a checklist of what you have to do so you can actually pass the interview. And basically, the hiring manager is using a product design challenge for 2 things. The number 1 is to see if you have the design chop. A lot of people can have fake resumes, but only few can actually back it up with their design skills, which is what half of the equation for the product design challenge is for. The other half, though, is actually to see if you can communicate, if you have the critical thinking skills to convey what you are thinking about when you are designing. So those 2 things. And what makes this hardest so far in the whole interview process, in your screening interview, in your first on-site interview, your whole job was to either talk about design, your skills, or talk about who you are. And now you have to do 2 of those things at the same time while you are designing, which is what makes a product design challenge very challenging. And a lot of junior designers, so far that I can tell, actually have the design chops. They practiced it, but I believe they are lacking in the communication part. Now, that's why this video will give you the communications part, and we are going to be giving the rest of the tips just so that you will get better at conveying what you are thinking when you are designing during the challenge. Ahmet, if communication skills are that important, how do I get better at communicating my ideas during a product design challenge? And I want it to be done fast. I understand. And to answer your question, I have to actually tell you this little story about NASA. In 1960s, as you know, NASA had this moonshot idea of actually sending humans to the moon. See the pun I did there? So what NASA had as a problem was huge. First, they were sending people to an environment that no other human on the whole planet had ever been to. The second problem they had was, because of the environment problem, they had no idea how to prepare the astronauts. Because if you think about it, the real problem is not a machine or an engine failing during the launch of the shuttle. Those are expected already by the engineers who were working at NASA. The hard part was for the astronaut's psyche to crack. What would happen if an astronaut had a problem and instead of being calm, they would be stressed and anxious, and they would basically blow up the whole operation, which would be horrible because corpses don't deteriorate on the outer space. So you really want those people to come back. So what NASA did was, for the next few months, before the launch, every day they basically drilled potential problems that every astronaut could face during the launch and during the operation, and made them go over it over and over and over and over again till every astronaut was desensitized. They didn't give a lot of negative reaction when any kind of a problem happened. How does this apply to you? Well, it's the same principle. Well, if you go to your first product design challenge without actually doing a few reps in, a few simulations of playing the session with somebody you actually are in a working relationship with, or who knows how to conduct interviews, you will bomb, man. Because when things go wrong, and they will go wrong, you will get anxious, you will get angry, and they will deteriorate faster. So I want you to actually do 3 sessions of practice with a coworker, partner, or if you are a very lonely person, your dog, where you talk with them and basically go through a whole out thinking 45 minutes of an interview while you are explaining your design process as you are doing example challenges. Trust me, if you are gonna take an advice from this video, it's this one. Do 3 sessions of practice. You have to clear your expectations before the interview. Hear me out, this is so important because it signals to the interviewer that you actually know how a basic project structure works. When you join a team as a UI UX designer, you want basically all the team members during a project to agree what the goals are, because it is very hard to accomplish or finish a project if not everybody is on board what the goals are. So you have to set the expectations when you are working with a team, and you have to understand and set the expectations of what does it mean for the interviewer a successful interview. What are they looking for? What is the agenda? So to actually do this, I want you to ask the interviewer and basically send them an email that has these following 3 questions. The number 1 question is, what is the timeline of the interview? How long will it take, and what is the agenda? What are you going to talk about? Does the interviewer have a vast amount of things that they want to talk about? Do they just want to give you the challenge, or will they be present and will they go over it with you? The second question you want to ask is, you want to clear your resources. What software are you allowed to use to actually solve your design challenge? Are you allowed to use Figma? Are you allowed to use Adobe XD, or are you allowed to use Balsamiq, or do you have to use an internal product? This will let you identify which resources you can actually use so that you can complete the challenge successfully. The third question you want to ask, and this is the most important one, is what are the expected deliverables? What do they want you to deliver? Do they want a high fidelity prototype? Or they just want a low fidelity sketches for you so that you actually identify some key ideas that could give them insights. These all matter because, as you know, the more you approach to the high fidelity design, the more time it takes. So you have to understand how much time you have, what resources you have, and what are your deliverables, so you can actually arrange your workflow the best so you can ace this test and move on. I'm going to be actually giving you 2 techniques on how to articulate your design decisions when you are actually designing. Now, these 2 tips will differ depending on the situation, because not every product design challenge is done in an interactive manner. So you can have a product design challenge where an interviewer is present with you, or it can be a home product design challenge where you are given, let's say, 8 hours to 48 hours to come up with a solution. So you actually have to do it on your own. So how do you communicate your ideas when the interviewer is present with you? What you do is, anytime you are making an assumption, whether that's about the user, the context, what you want to say is, hey, I am assuming X, is this correct? And this serves 2 things. First, it lets the interviewer understand what you are thinking about, and they can give you an answer that will actually clarify what you need. Is your assumption correct or not? The second though is, and that is much more important, now it's a conversation. Now you are designing with the interviewer, and it's you and the interviewer against the problem. You are working like you are in the same team. And this signals to the interviewer that you actually know how to work with a team, because nobody achieves things alone. Design is not done in a sole area where you are just designing something and it's implemented. It takes a team to build a product, and a good designer, senior designer who will probably interview you, will actually appreciate that you were willing to ask. Now, what do you do if it's a home product design challenge where the interviewer is not present? Basically, you open the software, you open a new screen on the software that you are actually designing, and you document your thought process. You basically just document it, and at the end, when you are gonna submit your designs on the email, you add on the final line, I also have added my thought process as a screen named X. Please check it out. I would like to know if my assumptions are correct. And trust me, this will make a very good first impression. As designers, we are very perfectionistic, and like all my designs are like my children. But what matters here is that you are on a limited timeline. I had 4 product design challenges when I was actually interviewing roughly a year ago, and all four of them had a timeline of less than 3 hours. Now what that means is the design you will create will not be your most beautiful, aesthetically pleasing work, or it won't even be your best work in terms of usability. But what matters is that you were given a problem and you did your best to solve that problem. And let the small stuff go, submit that work. Trust me, the score will take care of itself if you do this. Now, if you are new to this channel or you haven't subscribed to it yet, I urge you to smash that subscribe button. I release videos every Monday and Friday, and if you subscribe, you will get to hear a notification from me, and trust me, we will both be for the better of it.